As chair, we'll call the March 9th Sweet Home School Board meeting to order. The first thing is to do the pledge of allegiance, and Mr. Mark Mooney is going to get all the kids that are here for the SB awards. You'll lead us. I got right here. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you, guys. Next, we have the SB Awards. It's an exceptional student performance this year award. It's given to students who are doing well academically and have an exceptionally positive attitude about the school. They demonstrate respect and responsibility for staff and their peers. They show courage by not conforming to peer pressure and refuse to accept anyone who bullies. The school board and the districts want to recognize these students by celebrating their successes at the beginning of each school board meeting. Students receive certificates, see the board, and their names are announced on the web. Once a year, we also give out some kind of gift. And at the end of after everybody's received their award, you come back up here with your awards and face that direction. The newspaper will get a picture of everyone. So with that, board member Dustin Nichols is going to give the awards.
All right, so first up is from the high school, and it's Christian Romero. Another one from the high school, and it's Quintel Hall. From the junior high, Oliver Lindsay. Also from the junior high is Audrey Hagee. From Foster Elementary is Olivia Cookson. Also from Foster is Adrian Bryant. From Hawthorne, Ayla Engelhart. Also from Hawthorne is Ocean Dugas. In Poly Elementary, Silas. From Oak Heights, Jamie Moon. Also from Oak Heights is Noemi. From Oswego Charter School, we have Wesley Landis. And also from the charter school, Davison Henry.
Now, you know, everybody that got an award, if you come up here for a picture.
Nicely done.
You can all face that direction. How small is that?
A little in the front.
All right, let's see, what if we try to do? All right, the other thing is move it up a little bit. Oh, a little high on the one side. I'll nail this down a little bit. Good job.
Go. We want to see your pretty smile. There you go, big smile.
The three, you're looking at me, okay? I'm believing, ready? 1, 2, 3, again. 1, smiles, 3, perfect.
Yeah.
Well deserved, thank you, we realized tonight's a school night, so, we usually. Take a pause for anybody who wants to park at this time. And typically.
Yeah.
Don't go bad enough.
Yeah. There you go.
Somebody else, there we go.
Good job, Ocean.
Thank you. No favorite. I'm easy.
Someone have to.
Next on the agenda is public comments. And due to the. You know what's on the agenda, including a couple of executive sessions, we're gonna limit it for 3 minutes tonight. So, please state your name and address.
My name is Luke Arthur. I live at 1061 First Avenue. Good evening, members of the board. I was here in January and I was also here in February, asking about the travel budget line item for the office of the superintendent. In tonight's packet, Kevin has included travel spending per pupil. While I appreciate Kevin taking the time to compile this report, I feel this report does not show a direct correlation. It shows direct spending per student across the district, which is different from travel spending for the office of the superintendent. I've researched multiple local school districts, including Greater Albany and Lebanon. In the 23-24 school year, Lebanon spent $6,100 on this budget line item. And Greater Albany spent $1,400 on this budget line item. During that same year, Toledo School District spent $46,538. These are much larger school districts, and they choose to spend a smaller percentage of their overall budget on travel for the office of the superintendent. Our superintendent is quoted in the New Era as stating, and I quote, "Costs fluctuate from year to year depending on when it's pushed down from the state." I would think that these local districts' spending would reflect the same state requirements. How can they accomplish the same legal requirements with much smaller spending? I've reached out multiple times for clarification or explanation from the superintendent. He has refused to meet with me to provide any explanations for this increasing spending. I'm trying to follow the chain of command. I'm sure as you noticed, there are a multitude of items in the clerk's report that garner questions. I still would like to have a meeting to seek any clarification on some of these spending items. Given board policy DLC-AR titled staff expense reimbursement. And I quote, meal reimbursements not involving overnight travel will not be reimbursed unless the meal occurred during an official district business meeting. An official district business meeting is defined as 2 or more employees or persons who are assembled for the benefit of the district to conduct official district business. Official district business includes conferences, training, workshops, testing, seminar.
Luke,
And
thank you for your testimony. It's been I gave you 5 minutes.
I report this as 3.5.
Well, we're still over 3. I'm getting the message 5 from the back.
You,
In the back, they're recording it for me, but thank you.
sure. I would also like to thank Kristen Adams for her time, for her service to the Sweetwater School District. 24 years is a great amount of time, and she's done a lot of good things for this district.
I concur with that.
Would you like me to come back and finish this next month?
Yes, please.
Yeah, sure. It seems like you haven't missed a month, so. You're welcome to do that. Next, we have agenda approval and changes.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Jenna, second by Dale. All in favor, say aye. Next, we have student personnel reports, comments. For a certified Brandy Duncan from Hawthorne, the union vice president, is here to speak with us. For the classified, yeah.
Yeah.
You can come forward if you want
We don't bite.
Listen, I got stage fright. I have to that she should work, because this feels like a really big one. We don't really have much to report classified, you guys are super excited for spring break, and there's lots of foodies going around, so we're super excited for a little bit of a break to kind of clean everybody up. And some of them celebrated classified week last week, and so we appreciate that. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. And we have Jared Adams present for the teachers.
Good evening, I'm still in for Steve tonight, this is kind of a last minute thing, so I don't have a whole lot for you guys. Schools seem to be doing all right, I've got already been through. We had internet negotiation meetings with Kevin and Carrie, those went well. The union members are in the process of voting on that currently, are ratifying it, and we should have an answer on the result by Thursday. Other than that, I mean, we had an assembly today where we recognized some of these sport teams that received state honors, wrestling, swimming, cheer, and our unified basketball and normal basketball, and everyone's basketball team. Other than that, do you guys have any questions for me? All right.
I think so. Thank you. It doesn't look like we have a student report, and so we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
All right, good evening. I was expecting our student report. The swimmers did well, the girls wrestlers as a team, I believe, took 5th. Bailey was an individual state champion her 3rd time in 4 years. And she's in the running to be the athlete overall representing the state tournament. Cool. So last I checked earlier this morning, she was in a considerable lead. So that's pretty good. Wrestling on the boys side, boys state champions. Jesse Landry was also in that category on the boys side to in the running for the overall best performance at state. And then. Enrollment and attendance. On the attendance side. We have a familiar name, Hawthorne. At 91%. To Hawthorne. And then. On enrollment, if you'll turn to that. We've been tracking this, last month, we finished the month with 2,162. That was the end of January. And then, the end of February, 2,130.
Why?
Had,
Why the drop? Do we have any idea?
we have all the info on that. We have early graduates. We have a recurring cycle of 10-day drops. We have students that have moved out of district. We have students that have moved out of state. Students that have moved to online. So we are tracking those.
Yeah, some question on that. Do you know the percentages on near early grads and day drops moving and online?
We have that. I don't have it right here. If that's something that board would like, I can certainly provide that. So, Mr. Chair, is that the will of the board?
Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to get a breakdown of, how we're seeing these differences.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. That's a pretty
Uh,
good drop.
Mary's motion
Rachel.
and Rachel's second. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
All opposed, say nay.
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 This is the looking at.
So there were, I think there were 2 ayes and the rest were noes.
Did we? Go
There-
on, yeah.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Starting with Dustin.
Right. Dustin?
No.
Yeah.
Mary.
Jenna,
Mike, no.
Amanda, no. Rachel, yes. Chris, yes.
No. Robert. So. Motion doesn't pass, go ahead and continue if you would. Aaron.
Okay, thank you. Next up, safe and engaging schools, it's pillar 1, our strategic plan. And the bully report. Starting with Foster. 3 were reported, 2 determined to be pure conflict. 1 was ultimately decided as harassment. Hawthorne, 1 reported, none founded. Holly reported 0. Oak Heights, 15 conflicts, 1 founded as bullying and addressed at the school level. Junior high, 6 reports, no bullying founded. High school, 33 reports, 1 founded but taken care of.
those are pretty typical. Those numbers. Month, did you say?
I think we've seen pretty consistent, yes. Next up, thriving students and prepared citizens, so that you can hear from someone else besides myself. Josh Dargis, full principal.
All right, so, this month is our 2nd month of our Ops Time newspaper that, some of our young people created. Bradley, okay with that? I gave a stack of these to the superintendent, a couple weeks back. Hopefully you guys got our first version. This is the even more improved version 2. 3 years ago, we had a group of 6th graders at the time that came up with the idea of creating a newspaper. They came up with the off times, and we did it for the duration of that year. At the end of that year, we were one of the original authors that's here today. The Hot Times went away, and then we didn't have it last year. And then earlier in this year, we had some ambitious 3rd graders here who started harassing people about we should do the newspaper again. And through their persistence, they talked to their teacher, they talked to our counselor, and they started recruiting some more writers. And so we have it set up a little bit better this time, that we, instead of just having 6th graders do it. How many 3rd graders do we have writing? There's 3, and then we have 2 4th graders. 2 or 3 5th graders. And we have 6 6th graders who end up having to do the heavy lifting of the editing and the organizing and putting it all together.
Pretty cool.
So,
Yeah.
most of the credit goes to the kids and the 3 hard 3rd grade and my counselor, Neely. You guys have any questions for these aspiring authors here?
What made you want to do it so bad? What made you want to bring it back?
Well, last time my sister did it and it was really fun and she spent a lot of time in it and then when she brought it home I thought it would be cool to have one of my own.
Very cool.
This shit.
Yeah, I like it.
Any other questions?
You guys all want to be journalists? Like writing?
They're
I like.
very talented writers and cartoonists.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Thank you.
Maybe we will try to send each month to you guys. Yeah, you do that. Yeah. We'll just get an extra 20 copies sent down there. Okay, all right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Nobody will have to say, I'm running my daughter back to volleyball practice.
Thank you. 55 campus. Next, under pillar 3, academic success for all, we have mental health counselors from the junior high and high school. Brooklyn Giles and Jocelyn Norris. Brooklyn from the junior high, Jocelyn from the high school.
That's great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We created a school-based mental health and counseling program that align form that shows how we align with the strategic plan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm Jocelyn Lawrence, I'm the counselor at the high school, I'm 4th year here. And I'm Brooklyn Sanders and I am the mental health counselor at the junior high, and this is my 3rd year here. So our positions were created a few years ago. Why I guess before I started, but because the high school counselors right after COVID were seeing a big influx of mental health needs. And those needs were outside of school, because they felt like they were both because of the volume and the severity of the need. They also found that during that time, they were having a hard time connecting students to resources. And so that's how my position was created. When I was brought on, my job was to switch between the high school and the junior high. But my caseload goes really fast in the high school, and so then Brooklyn was brought on. So now I'll share a little bit about the services that Jocelyn and I both provide at our different buildings. So we provide individual counseling, that's one-on-one sessions with the student. We provide group counseling such as self-compassion groups, coping skills, girls group, PvP skills group, it varies based off of student needs. We will often support students who have immediate needs that are not on our caseload, such as assessments or safety planning. Or if there's a student that's having a really difficult day, having a hard time being regulated, and their school guidance counselor is not available for them. We help with student and staff belonging, and we love to include parents in the therapeutic process. We will have different parent and student meetings. We often will refer students for outside resources if needed, primary care provider, an outside therapist, whatever their needs are. We also enjoy collaborating with our colleagues on SEL days, which take place in October and then again in April, and then they have their lesson planning throughout the week and school year. And then we also get to collaborate a lot together. We enjoy figuring out how we can further the mental health based counseling program and strengthening it. And then often if there's something that we want to discuss further or not sure the route to go, we like to lean on each other to that process.
Would you say that during this time where you were brought on, that you were able to connect with resources outside of the school for counseling? Because I know therapy and counseling was really hard to get kids into, especially the youth. Is that something that's easier to come by now?
No,
Still pretty hard.
I would say we have a really hard time connecting with the county. And then at the end of the year, when we are preparing students for summer and getting student referrals ready, it's really hard to find therapies that fit certain health insurances. So when you're working with the families, you have to figure out what health insurance they have. And communicate with that therapist and make sure that they accept that health insurance. But then if that therapist is available, does that student have transportation during the summer? Or if it's telehealth, then it's really hard for young kids to be able to participate in telehealth because is mom or dad really listening, or is there actual confidentiality for that student?
We do find resources that we can connect students to outside of the school and what those resources are and where they're at. But typically, a lot of them are going to be Albany, Corvallis, outside of that area. We do have, connections close by, but there's not.
There are a few that will take youth in Lebanon.
Yeah. Breaking Free is a good resource. We have a spreadsheet that we created to help aid in the process when, we don't have room or maybe there's a student who has a little bit of anxiety, so we're able to assist it.
One of their counselors has gone off on his own also, and he primarily does youth. So,
Still in Lebanon.
yeah. He's in the MBVA building, Ben Peterson.
So at the junior high, I meet with students the same day each week. And that's about 45 minutes per session, so it operates like a regular therapeutic session. Some kids like to meet for a little bit shorter. I will help assist in the mental health class teaching. I like to help with the mental health portions of your health classes with Mr. Kaufman. I take part in our weekly RTI meetings where we can learn about different resources that a student might need. I also help plan with the 8th grade promotion, parent and student meetings, helping students to learn how to better communicate their needs and feelings with their parents. We also have a bulletin board near our lunch room that we use for fun and engaging activities to support with staff and student belonging. Currently, I'm seeing about 60% female students, 40% male, and then pretty much down the line for 7th, 5th, and 8th.
So in high school, it's really similar to what Brooklyn shared. I follow a schedule, 8 students weekly. I want to keep that consistency if I can. So I have 46 referrals this year. I meet with students weekly, bi-weekly, monthly or as needed. I was 46, I'm not even call it was 46 currently, but that's just referencing referrals that I received. I also meet students that aren't on my caseload, so if urgent need comes up and like Brooklyn shared, someone needs to regulate or there's a safety plan that needs to be done, then I'm available for that. And then just like Brooklyn was sharing, I participate in student and staff belonging, so traditions of the school. The first day of school during sodas, the UMAT cards, standing in the hallway and just building rapport with students, playing music, passing out candy, stuff like that. Participate in meetings like care team, student success team, trying to remove barriers and find resources for students. And then, providing some like psycho ed support for the SDL autistic students, with staff, and then, wellness class once a semester. So.
So next I'm going to share some of the highlights from the junior high. Throughout my time meeting with students, we've been able to help a student be removed from a class that was a bit challenging for them and placed in a class that better fit their academic needs. We've helped students, like I mentioned before, to establish connections to outside resources. I really work with Rich and Chrissy often, whether it's clothing or shelter or various other resources. I've helped students find a decrease in their anxiety. One thing that I'm really proud of was being able to connect with the student, helping them to identify what intrusive thoughts are, and learning how to take control of their thoughts and learning about thought stopping techniques. Helping students to express their emotion in a way that felt better to them while also connecting with their peers. And helping them to decrease their worries and having a safe place to be able to express themselves. Helping those navigate with grief, safety plans, and then supporting and advocating for private boards when needed. Then again, providing a safe place for them. So, at high school, we have Wisconsin Student Success Center, we have 2 counselors, co-counselors. And then we have a student advocate, we have the college for readiness, our registrar, and a large portion of those students coming into Student Success Center are criminal health. A very large portion of the are coming in for that. A lot of the highlights that it's really hard to just be honest with you to name all of the different highlights and give you guys specific success stories, because a lot of what we're doing every day is moving towards that, and then there's just so much that's happening, so it's hard to kind of name it, but I would say like food improvements is one. So a lot of times when we're checking with students, when we first start meeting with students, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Right, and a lot of times a huge portion of them are pretty low, and by the end of our counseling, they're much higher, like 7 or an 8. And then some other highlights would be improvements in healthy self-care. So really communicating what healthy self-care is. A lot of people have an idea of what self-care is, but we talk about what it actually is and how it's taking care of yourself. Getting sleeping, staying connected, with people who care about eating, moving your body. Sometimes doing your homework and self-care, right? So it's teaching them those things and then helping them with it. A lot of the students I met with feel more confident understanding and communicating their boundaries, so knowing what those are and being able to communicate. Some improvements in academics and attendance, and part of that is working alongside other staff members, right? So I'm being a student, I recognize some of the barriers that are contributing to attendance and academics, so that I can reach out to, with their permission, right? And they're a part of this process, their LRC teacher or alt ed or their school counselor, and then together we can come up with a plan that needs to where they're at and help them make some of those improvements. So yeah, there's a lot of different things that we could speak to, but I think overall, it's just a success that we get to be present in the building, because I think we're able to meet the students that otherwise wouldn't be met, because they would be going out of town, and again, I'm already spoke to this, right? It's the time we parents have to take off. It's the driving out of town. Sometimes it's the financial resources. And we get to remove some of these barriers and meet with students. So it's a success that we're getting. And then also I think it helps support the staff and coaches, because they feel more prepared when something further comes up that they feel like it's outside, so they can really support. They have something that they can email and say, hey, this is going on, we need this. And so, yeah, and then the referral to outside, we can also be like that with liaison. We definitely work with Christy and Rich a lot, but sometimes students need to look outside and what we don't provide, and we're able to that bridge to help them get there.
So like you've built up a good team inside and outside. So it sounds like you've built up a good team inside and outside.
Well done.
Thank you for you too. Would you say your positions are very similar? You find a lot of these in other schools? Or is this more unique to our district in your experience?
I think it's growing, I think it's becoming more and more thing.
But it is something that, not all school districts or many school districts have.
So I'm tremendously proud of our counselors and our counseling program. This is a very conscious budget decision that we made to help our students. Mental health in our society is heavily stigmatized. It's very important. You know, it's cliche to say hurt people. But as people work through the issues that they have, they can do better. And when people know better, they do better. So this is a very conscious budget decision. It's good for our kids. In 30 years, you know, I'd never had so many parents talk about anxiety. So many students talk about anxiety. And so we're removing barriers and helping our students be able to come to school and be successful. So again, thank you both.
Question. Really great presentation here. I like all the connections that you made. Listening to you, thank you for everything that you're doing. I can only imagine your days must go by so fast. Okay, it's just like never the same thing, I imagine. I do like under your building a thriving community, it says, counselors work with staff and parents to achieve a holistic approach. Appreciate that. You let parents know when a student comes in to talk with you.
Yeah, we won't be with the student on a regular basis, so.
And then you bring them in and then you work as a team. That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
And the two people that they spoke of, and Dale asked along these lines, Rich and Christy that they're speaking of, Rich Guzman is our family support liaison. We contract for him through the ESD. And so when we have those budget discussions, we've talked about his position specifically. And then Christy Walker, I believe we had her in last year. She is our homeless liaison. And so the Christy and Rich that they were speaking of are two other members of the team.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And pillar 4, connected school community. We have is Robin Lindsay here from the high school. Robin, come on up. And I've asked Robin to speak about our transition program. And this is a program that she has had to create to help our students be successful after high school. So I'll stop there, Robin.
Hi. So it's not just transition, but it's called pre-employment transition services, and it falls under a different category than your traditional transition. So pre-ets used to be called YTP, youth transition program, and it changed with federal guidelines. I'm not gonna read like everything verbatim that I gave you guys, that's just that was over. But what happened is that they decided that not as many students were being reached as possible through the YTP guidelines, and so it started pre-ed. And it is paid through a federal grant. It's available to all students with a documented disability. So it doesn't just have to be a student that's on an IEP or a 504. It can be somebody who, like Terry said, there's mental health right now, issue who have a lot of kids with anxiety, depression. So students that suffer from that, they also qualify for reemployment services. There is 5 main components to pre-ed. And when the students request services, they can choose whether they want to work on one of those components, or they can work on all 5 of them. It's pretty fun. We do the job exploration counseling. A lot of that is through like the career interest inquiries where kids go through. You can see the different things that they might be interested in, look at. We do a lot of self-advocacy, just so they are confident and know their rights when they do go out to get a job. So we work side by side with case managers. They obviously make IEP goals, and then my job is to go in and enhance those. So work with the case managers and the students. We do work, I do work obviously with the school, and then also both rehab, VR. So traditionally, they work with students once they are over 21, because if you homeschool, they're on IEP. But the kids that don't want to come back for transition, they can work with them starting at 18. Currently, we have 37 students enrolled. From our last year's graduating class, we have 4 that are working with the VR. We have 3 applications, currently processing right now for Forget at high school.
Well, VR.
Voc Rehab. So, Forget falls under the Voc Rehab. Voc Rehab is like after Forget, like Forget's kind of a bridge that goes to Voc Rehab. So our volunteer locations have been Hidden Farm in Lebanon. And that's been pretty successful. We have students that choose to go out there on non-school days. Just because they like it so much. We have set up kids to volunteer at Safe Haven. We haven't gone out as a group, they've gone out individually. We have been at Wiley Creek Assisted Living. We have students that helped with the cafeteria, snack shacks, and then the cooking house is still Booster Club is our biggest supporter, which is great. We are always looking for small local businesses to volunteer at as well. So you guys know what I mean. I would like to get our goal up to 30% of our students. Right now, we're just under 13%. But I feel like it's really important to get them out and get them skills. So they can learn meaningful life when they're in school. I would also really like to add a few more locations that are permanent. We have 2 permanent right now. I would really like to have like 5 to 7 permanent locations where it's, maybe like the first Tuesday of every month. So many kids go to one location because that's something that they're interested in. Definitely going to continue the Unified CTE Day. We're going to hold that this year, the Wednesday of May week. It was a huge success last year. I was at a conference last week where there was a lot of questions about how our CTE programs are so successful with special needs students, what is it that we do? I was pretty surprised here that a lot of school districts do not have an inclusive CTE program. Like, they're trying to, not what I have to do. So CTE, or I'm sorry, so CREATS does also help generate revenue for the school district, because it is paid through a federal grant. It does pay $65 per day, that, which definitely helps. I think that's about it. The only thing moving forward I'd like to do would be able to get our student basic wages in our contract. Because that will allow students to go out to like any local business. And then they're paid through CREATS, so the business isn't paying them, so they're able to gain the skills, have employment, and they're paid.
Is that this process, like, what does that entail, like, it's,
That would be our next contract, which I think is September. September.
so do you feel like our school district is leaps and bounds ahead of other school districts when it comes to this? If you're sitting at these conferences and they're asking you questions and you seem to.
Well, that's about CTE. I think as far as like CTE goes and having an inclusive program where we have kids who are on life skills. You know, LRC, everybody is involved, everybody is moving, it is absolutely leaps and bounds. Yes. Yes, definitely ahead of the district for sure.
Can you tell me your name again?
Robin Lindsay.
They're using this all over there. I mean.
Yeah.
So. I'm just kind of going through what you're doing and. You just gonna be like, this is
Yeah, kind of a lot. Yeah. It is, it's times that it's a lot, the big thing about VSO is because it's supposed to be like a short-term thing, so. You might have like 5 students that you're doing self-advocacy with, but it's just a short, like maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Okay, the idea is that you get to work with more students, so everybody kind of gets a piece of the pie. Instead of just like specific students. And I did recently learn that a student can only have 200 hours during their entire progress time. So
is that including if they go and do an internship?
that does not include.
I asked you, so currently enrolled 37, that's awesome. Applications for processing, is that for 3 more to be added to the program?
Yes.
That means, okay, yep, and then that 30% goal is 30, you want 30% of those that could be in the program to get in the program? Okay,
Of students that would qualify.
all right. And then the only thing I was thinking is if the new era is still here. I mean, that's pretty advertising, perhaps, yeah, I mean, this right here, that the community knew that something like this existed.
Yeah,
And
I mean, right now they're going, like when the kids go to Hand Farm,
yeah,
they love it and they're cleaning out horse stalls,
Yeah.
they're feeding them water, they're shoveling gravel, they put a pad down to start a shed. They've been working on sanding down a truck. Like a trailer, so that they can putty like dents and stuff, and I mean, I don't, it's beyond what they love it. Yeah, they love it.
yeah, that would be a.
I got a whole bunch of fencing that needs. You're listing everything that I do in my house.
Anyway, I was kind of serious about the new era, because I mean, yeah, having some of the reporter go out and do that farm and take pictures,
Yeah.
break this up. You might just generate those extra businesses that you're looking for, and people would want to buy into that for you.
I love it. Good work.
Mhm.
Thank you.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Next, we have approval of the consent agenda. Approve the minutes from February 9th, 2026 school board meeting. Accept the resignation from Haley Schilling, kindergarten teacher at Hawthorne, effective at the end of 25-26 school year. Accept the resignation from Kristen Adams, high school success coordinator at the high school, effective March 31st, 2026. Accept donation from Janice Horner, 1 Noble B flat clarinet, LeBlanc sax, Yvette Schaefer alto sax, tenor sax, set of piano turning tools, and $1,000. Accept the resignation from Kaylee Schneider, 4th grade teacher at Foster Elementary, effective June 13th, 2026. And finally, accept the resignation from Haley Miller, 2nd grade teacher at Foster, effective June 12th, 2026.
So moved.
Move to approve by Dale, seconded by Jenna. All in favor, say aye.
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 Discussion.
We usually don't do it on the consent agenda. Is there something you wanted to pull out of the consent agenda?
Not a lot, this one I asked. I'm just asking if that is. We discuss it before, and if it's.
Sure, I'll go ahead and ask you a question.
Question. So I noticed the number of resignations coming in, is this? There's year on year, is this what we see, are these numbers being consistent? And is there anything that we are doing wrong as a district? That's having so many people resign?
So overall, the trend is down. We're retaining more teachers. And as far as this time of year, this is when contracts are going out. So this is when folks do typically let us know if they're having a baby and choosing to stay home to a baby, moving back home, wherever that may be closer to family. So a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, these 3 words, find is down, very exciting.
If you read their letters too, you can see why it tells you quite.
So motion by Dale, second by Jenna, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Information discussion, budget update, Kevin.
Hey, thanks, Mike. This is item 7A in the Board of Academy. We are now 8 months through the fiscal year and general fund spending. It is up just over $969,000 in the same time period last year. The primary reasons for that, the largest single line item is higher PERS pension expenses. We discussed this last month. PERS statewide has a shortfall, and the way that they make up for that is either through investment earnings or higher contributions from employers. And what they did is starting on July 1st, they increased our rates, and we're seeing that then is higher PERS cost to us. In addition to that, salaries and wages are higher this year over last year, largely due to negotiating the salary increases. The same with health insurance costs being in addition to that, charter school payments are up. The amount we're paying per student to the charter school is higher this year than last year, and also I believe their enrollment is up slightly over last year for the overall average for the year. And then also other tuition, these are payments. We have a handful of students where it's been determined that a placement outside the district best meets their educational needs. And we, because of that, that's reflected in that other tuition line.
Thank you. Anything you want to add?
Would you like me to talk about the request on travel expenses as well?
Sure, if you like to.
This is the next item 7A, and last month there was a request to compare Sweet School District's travel and professional development expenditures with those other Oregon school districts. And to prepare the information, ODE has a fiscal transparency website, which is nice because we can go there and get by fiscal year the travel and professional development expenditures for each district, the full amount for the district. And I would say, comparing apples to apples, this is the way to go, because districts can, for the same expense, they can charge it to a variety of different departments, a variety of different funds, variety of different grants. This captures everything. And so, for example, we've had expenditures that are charged to the office of superintendent because the registration was handled by the office of the superintendent, even though it included other staff members. By doing it this way, we're picking up all travel and professional development expenses district-wide for every district as it was coded. And so when you break that down and look at it, the most recent year, the state has that information available. 2023-2024 school year. And then what you'll see is by and large, larger districts tend to spend more than smaller districts. So to try to continue with that apples to apples comparison, what I did is I also took from OECD the enrollment reports to calculate then how much is each district spending per student to make it so you can compare, say, Portland or Orford. And when we break that down, 135 school districts reported higher travel and professional development expenditures per student from Sweet Home, while 56 districts reported lower expenditures, which placed us in the lowest third district statewide for per student travel and professional development spending. It was also interesting then to look and see what makes up Sweet Home spending. So in addition to what we talked about last month, the other key travel and professional development expenditures in the 2023-2024 school year, the biggest $23,646 was training to help staff identify struggling students early and provide targeted academic support, especially reading and math. That was from the federally funded grant. The next largest was wrestling team travel, which was primarily related to motel lodging for the state's wrestling tournament. Our transportation department, we have both travel and professional development going to the Oregon People Transportation Association conference, plus driver reimbursements for extended field trips and away days. High school career technical education staff professional development. So this is often referred to as Perkins funds. It's a federal grant that we received to strengthen our career tech ed programs. We also had travel expenses for going to job fairs and recruitment activities, some training to support data analysis and instructional improvement for our staff to help students. Then the Josiah Exchange Program, we have decades-long exchange program with high school in Japan, and so some years the students come here, some years the students go there, and so we had some travel related benefits for that. Then $3,853 for travel expenses related to serving students experiencing homelessness. This included some motel vouchers. We had staff attend a environmental grade student threat assessment investigation training. And we also had travel for the swim team that was primarily for watching and meals related to the state. So with all of this, and 3 takeaways that I'd like to share. First, I want to recognize many of our staff members that year to year choose not to submit expense reimbursement requests at all, even though they do have the big claim, choosing not to. We're effectively contributing additional resources and supporting students in district operations. I'm thankful for them doing that. Second, earlier Greater Albany was mentioned. And if you read the news right now, Greater Albany is in the headlines. They're facing a $10 million budget shortfall. And I would say, be it for me, be it for you as the board, for our community, our budget document includes thousands of line items. And I'm sure that if you look hard enough, we can find line items where Albany looks better than us. But what I would say is, if you really want to measure our fiscal health, you need to look at the overall total and look at the big picture. And I would encourage all of us to do that. Third, Lebanon was mentioned. You've been following in the news. Lebanon has a number of critical facility issues that they're facing. And I would say again, it's important for us. I never want to see Sweet Home get in the situation that they're in with their facilities. And I credit our board. Our board over 2 decades ago, started the long range for long-term facilities. Fund, so he set aside some money to help. And we've been able to, without increasing the tax rate, do a lot of good things, and we have some opportunities right now to do more. To help avoid the situation Lebanon is in, I would say that if you're looking long-term and planning long-term. By doing that, you're saving this community money in the long run. And I think that's something that current boarding passports should be. I think all of you are looking out for that, so we avoid that. So we definitely have a lot of good things going on. With that said, can we do better? Definitely, and we will continue, that's what we strive for every day. But, I definitely feel the questions that you have.
I apologize that I wasn't sure that again, we need to go month. So I missed this because I think I'm the one who kind of was interested in that breakdown, so I apologize. I did go try to find the video to watch and I couldn't find it. So I'm sorry if I'm asking you to repeat information. Really appreciate the things that are listed here. These are all great things. I think the question that was travel. And this idea of travel and professional development being kind of put together here. So I looked at our policy a while back, the question first. Seems like travel is pretty limited to travel medias. And so now it just seems like we've got travel and professional development. Is there anything I'm looking through here? That's just meant for professional development, so we can have travel and professional development.
Typically, our professional development involves travel, and so those have always historically been included together.
So anytime you pay for like a professional development, does that come through travel or is that a different expenditure?
Typically, what we have is like a conference registration for professional development, it's related to the travel and professional development code.
I just saw it locally. There was conference workshop reimbursement for certified and classified. Is that something completely different than the professional development?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Certified classified,
Yeah, and that's something.
Not just the title of,
but that's for certified and classified.
Those are amounts that we have negotiated in the contract specifically for that, so that the staff member wants to access those funds. We code them there, and there are limits then defined by the contract to how much the district will pay out for that each year.
I have a question. So the wrestling and the swim, you said that those are mostly for hotels and stuff. Is that for everyone that's going, or is that just the staff? And coaches.
That's for the athletes, but
Oh.
most of that's for, well, athletes and the coaches, but most of it is typically, especially for wrestling.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
athletes.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Thank you.
thank you, Kevin, for putting this all together.
Thank you, Kevin.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yeah.
We call our budget meeting with the auditor,
Mhm.
in which he said we've had over 20 years of clean audits. Which is, I know what Kevin strives for. And we expect, so there's that transparency there. We have the budget committee. We have our budgets. Come through the board here. I sign on staff reimbursement. The board chair signs off on any reimbursement that comes through for me. We have processes in place, and those processes are working. A clean audit is a very top tier that you can receive. There's 4 stages. I'm not gonna go into all of them, but the 4th stage is start looking for a different audit company. Okay, so top tier is the rating that we're receiving. They slip down before they start looking for someone else. Kevin, how long have we been with our current one?
With all Rogers, well, for I was here, so I think you have to go back to the 1980s or 90s.
So these are good questions, they're good learning experiences for the board. Just take in the totality of information that you're presented and that you're regularly receiving.
Yeah, I'm very, it's very impressive that we were in top tier. I think the question was just 5 years ago, it was a little amount for travel a minute and then it went up. And I think that was the question as opposed to whether or not we have the follow.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Okay.
that wasn't the question.
Oh.
Let's not get ourselves, but what happened to our world 5 years ago? What did we go through? Anyone? COVID. Could we travel during COVID? Could we get together as groups? Could we have gatherings face to face? No. So what would happen? Kevin's our money guy. I always point money questions at him. But if you can't do any of those things, what happens to your budget? We don't use it. It goes down virtually zero. Never happened in her life before. That happened. And so then coming back from that. That built. So good question, but just again, keeping in mind the totality of what we're going through. Coming out of COVID, yeah, that did increase. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We'll move on to board policies, the second reading of JFCEB-AR personal electronic devices and social media. That's the delete. And the new version is JFCEB-AR following. So, and you'll note the form that they've added for exceptions for medical reasons and other accommodations.
Where's the leading against
Yep.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
if I may.
Yeah.
This is in response to the governor's mandate that cell phones be banned during the school day. Our previous policy didn't fully address this. This one does with the aforementioned exceptions. And so this gives us the way to properly enter our new settings. He's still, yes, for that.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the new version of JFCEB-AR and delete the old version.
I'll second.
Motion by Dale, second by Rachel. And you had 3 hours of training before this and it was all night. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And unanimous passing. Board policies first reading is the student drug testing extracurricular activity participants, JFCIA, AR1, the student drug testing authorization form, JFCIA, AR2, the student drug testing and BCB board officers.
This was the first reading of them.
Yep. Yes.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. Is this for, so I want to make sure I'm reading this correctly. Will all the students who are doing extracurricular activities be tested at the beginning and then randomly, or is it all just always random? Because at the beginning, it says mandatory drug testing will be required of all students. But then down, it'll say random testing will be conducted periodically thereafter.
So yes.
So yes, anytime you do extracurricular at the beginning, you're all drug tested?
I think so.
Is that,
That's what it was.
okay,
Because that's the language that highlighted is what's being added. So I think it is all students grades 9 through 12.
okay,
And then down below it talks about,
then it's randomly throughout their,
random
Event.
selection.
okay,
That's the way I read that.
okay. I just wanted to make sure I was reading that correctly.
So this is just updating the current language to fit.
Yeah. Say it again.
This is just updating the current language for what's required.
I think so. Daisy, would use, can you speak to that, Mr.
It is updating, last time this was adopted in August of 17.
Oh, wow.
And so this is an update to that, and on that first measure. Continue that sentence, grades 9 through 12, participating in extracurricular activities, just making sure.
Yeah. They're all in the extra, I love that. I think it's great. Were we drug testing before to do, okay. I don't have a kid that high yet, so I don't know. You know, we better not be doing drugs.
So with the drug testing, somebody tests positive, what's the procedure for discussing with the athlete and parents and so forth?
My understanding that goes through the athletic director.
And so, okay, so 'cause we ran into few situations that were, and my son's diabetic and he tested positive. And so, and there were some other students that were on medication that tested positive. And they pulled them in and told them, well, you tested positive, you guys are no longer eligible, and they went out the door. And so is there a little bit better screening of sorts going on to an extent now to where before they just go pell-mell on stuff and they bring in the parent and have a talk as to maybe the reason why and so forth, because it caused some discriminants. Last year I was there.
Okay, would you, at this time, I can either prepare this information, bring it back to you. We do have our high school principal here, kind of reluctant to put people on the spot, but he's probably willing to speak to this. What is it that you would like at this time as a board? Would you like to hear from our principal? Ralph, did you hear the question?
Yeah, so Terry, one of the things is we. The policy when I first got here, was that the board, that was a big thing on the board when I first got, so we don't about 11 years ago. And so back in, when the board came in at that time, we did test, that they want to test every single athlete, every single kid in the world. We don't do it that way, where it started the year, every kid lines up and in the very beginning, when they put the policy, we were trying to figure it all out.
But they don't do that now with everybody.
Every kid at the beginning of the thing, every
It's
kid has
random.
an athlete, they go into the random, and what we do, we have a randomizer, the company will come and tell us who they're testing. We don't have any control over that, but what Dustin brought up, was one of the things, when we were first getting going, I don't want to be crude with it, but the system manual, we had cups and we had to have the students give us a sample and cup, and the people running that thing, and I'm not sure if you got taxed with it, but we were in the office that we were doing that to our staff. Because we were trying to get this going, because what we didn't want to do was have a kid, it's looking for the safety of the kids. But as Dustin brought up, we ran into issues because we were not the
Custodian.
exactly, we weren't experts in that area of expertise. So now we have a company that comes in, and what the company does, if there's a test positive, and they'll set on what things they're looking for. So there'd be, THC is one of the big ones, because they'll have things like meth or some things like that. But they'll have a battery, if the kid tests positive on that, then they have an automatic rerun of that test material that the company does, and then they can get back to us. The ones that Dustin talked about.
And then I think the kid will have the kid should have the opportunity to bring forward any kind of medical note from the doctor as part of that process.
Is very, very. Yeah, that's what we don't know, but what us, we tried to put in systems, and I don't know the medical expert thing, but if we have a student, we get a positive result, our AD will be right there, he'll get the information immediately, the athletic director, he was talking to me, but he visit with the student. And that's one of the things we do with student, because when we're doing the test, we've had a couple positives, And we'd have students that would come up and they appear very, they appear to be, there's a little bit of nervousness going on. And so we typically talk to students and we don't want kids being really anxious, but the idea is if a kid does test positive, we visit with the student, we visit with parents, that we want our kids safe. In the situation where I don't know that they, I believe is they cleared stuff like that where we don't have a kid that because of this situation, because of that, the drug that they're using for mental.
Well, I wanted Ralph to speak, that I knew what the answer is gonna be, Bill. I want him to talk towards that, but also in the all, it isn't all of the athletes, correct? So in the all, they're past that, and that's when the all,
This change will make it all.
so that, no, they all don't get tested, do they?
In the very beginning, we came in and taking tested, the first.
But we're not, are we changing it to that?
I think when it first came in.
Yes.
I think when it first came in, the initial deal, we had all athletes in that ability.
But what Mike's saying is he's, by this, it's saying, you're saying all students
No,
are going to get tested.
No,
That's what. this
And that's
says.
what
That's
this
what
is
this-
saying, and that's why I wanted you to come up and talk.
That's what this
Because I knew
version.
that wasn't the case.
Not done that, there's a couple reasons I believe, one of them would be the randomness of the situation, because every student goes in and they know it's like a lot. They have a chance, so I think there are a lot of kids that keep some late, because when it was a random situation. If we were testing every one of our athletes, I am not sure what the cost would be, but it would be. Like,
It's sort of-
what
Then I think we've got a version here that,
That is wrong.
because this version is adding all students. And it's lining out a minimum of 20% of student athletes will be randomly tested. Up to 40% per season.
Because basically, the way it was when Shelby was in there, was because you signed up for a sport, your name went into the lottery.
Right.
And then 2 weeks, I think the 2 weeks into the thing is when they start the first one that is random and they call you down and you've got a class group, you stay there until you provide a sample. Is that correct?
Yeah, and they just told me that the part of the AD role, that it's half of the athletes at any given season when we test.
We'll get
And so
this.
we do absolutely.
So I just wanted, this is wrong.
Yeah, we need to take it out.
Well, is
So I
it
wanna
wrong
be-
or is it being changed to that? That's what.
Yeah.
This is the new version. It may not be wrong. It may be changed to that.
But-
Yeah.
Following,
This version is wrong.
that's what I'm saying. This is the
What?
new version. This may not be wrong. This may be changing.
This might be what we're changing it back to.
To all,
Yes,
So
well, that is what,
so, Mr.
is that what we
Chairman,
want to do?
Can you speak to that, Mr. Superintendent?
at this time, really, in light of the agenda and everything, I think we need clarification here. I don't think that the wording is necessarily wrong. I think how we may be interpreting it is wrong. I interpret it that they all go into the pile and then they're drawn from that. It's not that they're all tested at the start and then it goes from there. But Ralph has given us answers. One thing that I haven't heard conclusively, although I know like with diabetes, for example, 10 years ago, I don't believe we had the Dexcoms that students are using now. That's a continuous monitor. And so I would like
That
to-
doesn't make a difference.
it's clarification.
well, I think the answer's part of that question, but the improvements that have been made. So
Still insulin. It's anyway, it's.
can, if
Synthetic.
there are questions remain, if it's the will of the board, let us gather this information and bring it back.
Yeah, can we get clarification on the new language if that's what they're asking?
Because I look at it as all
Yeah.
students as part of the district's substance abuse.
And
prevention efforts.
this is the time to do it because it is the first reading,
Yeah.
so it's not.
So that's why I wanted Ralph, because I thought that it was a percentage going
So
forward.
do I hear,
All students-
do I hear a motion to direct Carrie to go back to OSBA and clarify what the intent is here?
Second it.
I'll make a motion to have the superintendent go and get some more clarification on this version of the drug testing.
Second, I believe, was.
Second.
Yeah.
So Dale and Mary,
No,
in favor,
No.
Rachel.
They had that one first, okay?
I don't think Mary did.
Dale and Jenna, sorry, I misspoke and said Mary. But we can say Rachel made a motion,
Yeah.
Dale seconded for the superintendent to seek clarification on the policy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You can address the board officer.
Oh, yeah. This, in my mind, appears to get rid of chairman. It says chair and vice chair. Board. Secretary.
Are we on 7C?
Yes. The board officer policy, the BCB.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yeah,
Speak to this. In the last time we looked at this, we had, as a group, the group that was all here, troubles with the idea of having a board chair, a vice chair, and a board secretary. Because in this group, when we say board secretary, everybody's eyes go to you. And so so we didn't change that. The suggestion is a vice chair 1 and a vice chair 2. So that it does clearly enunciate that. So simply an opportunity to clean up our practice and our terminology.
I was just trying to see where it added the second vice chair. You know, it talks about chair and vice chair.
Up above, right below the second sentence.
The second line.
Are you on?
The second.
Second sentence.
Now I'm looking, and I see that. Yeah.
So can I clarify, so the previous, the drug testing, et cetera, those were from SBAC. This board officers was interim, these are the changes that we're suggesting, as opposed to SBAC.
And this was actually what, 1 or 2 years ago, and it fell through the cracks, never got finalized.
Just the name change, and then just.
Yeah, that's basically all it is. Yeah,
No, not secretary.
yeah,
Vice chair 1 and
No.
vice chair 2.
it does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's it, anytime I can see how they're having, anytime it's structured.
Yep.
So, any other questions? Discussion? Cool. If not,
I would make a motion to go.
That's it.
so. Board comments?
May I ask why we're not doing a motion on this?
First reading.
Oh, got it.
So, I have people come in, you know, continuous meeting. First of all, I have to do with a member of the public who got to speak. And we are really good officials. And I just feel as though it's really, that is really, really important that we keep the public with the utmost respect. I just feel like that needs to be said, so if anyone's ever, that we're here to serve. Secondly, I just wanted to clarify that anytime the superintendent says, put that out for. And remember, I was asking about something and then you directed it back to the chair. Is that is the way we're, just don't recall that, so I'm just making sure, is that our new process? Or is it a process that's now being people?
That is a way that,
Process not being.
process that can be enforced.
It just felt new, so I was kind of curious about that. And so it sounds like we just want to be consistent, if that's what we're gonna be doing. I was with the board rather surprised, and this was the comment that, 6 people voted no and 3 yes, it's asking for more information. As public officials, that is our job, is to find information. And I just want to say, I was a little bit surprised that we didn't want to gain more information that's. And then lastly, just a comment that you made to me, which was surprising to me when I was talking about the travel. When you said something like, let's not kid ourselves, you actually surprised me with that. I didn't feel anything like I was trying to do a gotcha. I was just seeking information and there was no ulterior motive, just information. So when you made that comment, I was a little bit taken back.
Anyone else? Have any more comments? I think your ulterior motive is to support what I think is accurate and factual to describe as a former disgruntled employee. It's using a lot of employee time by continually coming in and requesting information. And in my opinion, it's a waste of time. There's a public records process. There's a difference between trying to get information for a purpose to make things better and trying to swing an axe and take off somebody's head. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So with that, we'll go into executive session, ORS 192-662D license bargaining.
We'll do.
At this time, we'll ask everyone